What are some of the educational programs that you have? I mean, as far as the age ranges, um, what you have to do, are there costs associated with them?
We have this really broad audience. So, I mean, it's K to 12 and then well beyond from there. And so we engage with students, researchers and scientists, but also just, general public, hikers who visit the area who just love the mountain and so therefore just, really know our services really well. For that, the K to 12 level, we have a couple different programs. We've been doing a free virtual classroom program. In fact, we just call it the virtual classroom program, or I think our flashier title is Home of the World's Worst Weather Live. And so we just do a free program every Tuesday morning at 11:15 a.m. And we go through basically the full curriculum at a middle school level in weather, climate, and climate change. And we always try and tie it back to the work that the observatory is doing. So it's one of our weather observers who's presenting it live from the summit, which is great. You get to
Oh,
check
neat.
in, see what's going on in the mountain. They share webcams, all that sort of stuff. And there's Q&A and polls and all these sorts of things that we try and make it as interactive as possible, but also it's just free and wide open. Anyone can join and participate. It's you can sign up through Zoom on our the website for it's mountwashington.org/classroom, but it's on our Facebook page too, and all these things. We record them, create worksheets, different activities. Every month, we offer a free virtual lecture program on usually bringing someone from near or far to talk in topics on weather and climate or something adjacent to that. In the past, we've had folks speak about weather stations on Mount Everest or space weather or, oh geez, even endemic white mountain butterflies and how they adapt to harsh climates. So usually somebody fascinating in that program. So every month you can find more information about that. It's called Science in the Mountains at mountwashington.org. And then there's a whole host of other programs as well. Come for a visit during the summer months. May through October, the weather station should be reopening here for weather station tours, even visit our museum on the
Right.
summit. So a number of different ways, certainly, to get involved with us.
Are there any citizen scientist types programs or groups that people get together and you share data with them, or they share data with you is more appropriate?
Citizen science has been one of those great ways for us to still kind of feel like we're connected and working towards similar goals. And so um, two really popular, really easy to get involved programs that we've been really supportive of, and even ourselves, our own staff participate in. So one is COCORAS. So it's the community, it's the collaborative. Oh, I'm gonna mess up the acronym there.
I can always fix it with a
COCORAS,
little graphics, so don't
Coco,
worry about it.
yeah, COCORAS.org. But basically, it's um, a community collaborative, hail, snow, rain, precipitation. People just take a really simple tube. There may be one that's actually sitting all the way in the
Oh,
back of my um, office here. And it's, you buy like a $15 plastic measuring tube, you put it outside, and you report on your computer, on your phone, precipitation of any kind. And that's it. And it just goes into this one clearinghouse. It's done throughout the entire country, territories. And it's not like it just then sits there and you say, oh, cool, great, whatever, that was fun. The National Weather Service ingests all that data, and it's incredibly valuable for them because it's low cost, first of all, and it just helps them spread out all the measurement throughout the country. So particularly in like drought-stricken areas, incredibly important to help figure that out. Snowpack and melt out and flooding events, all these sorts of things. So that's one great program. And then similarly, we've been getting involved lately in the community snow observations program. And
what is
yeah,
that? Is that
yeah, it's
local or is that national? Or is it?
national, international even for
Oh,
that one.
wow.
And same idea, use your computer or your smartphone, you go outside. This is definitely geared toward, um, I think it's sometimes it's a little more geared toward the outdoors community, people who might be in the backcountry and say skiing or snowshoeing or whatever. But you take either a ruler or an avalanche probe, whatever you have that has good measurement on it, and you just submit whatever the snowpack depth is there, and that's it. It's takes all of like 3 seconds. But again, it's this idea of trying to gather low cost data from all sorts of places. And in a lot of places throughout the entire country, snowpack and how much water is being held up in that snowpack is hugely important for agriculture, businesses, all sorts of ecosystem services. There's so many valuable, um, yeah, so many valuable outcomes that come from participating. And so, and those are just two programs, but the easier they are to explain, get
Mhm.
people involved in, the lower cost they are, usually the more effective they are. So those are the two really big ones we're into.
Let's say you're in a high snowdrift area. Let's say in your backyard and there's snowdrift and then there's snowfall. Uh, is there is there an easy answer for that? Just for me, because I've always wondered about how do they measure it when it's nothing next to the car and 2 feet, a foot away?
Yeah, you try your best. That's what you do. And so it's taking an average. Generally, if you can, and we have the same issue too. Think of windswept Mount Washington. Our snow depth is never really that high, although you might turn around the corner of a building that's sheltered from the wind and it's, 20 feet high. So yeah, you take an average, you try your best, and if anything, you do lots of measurements across a few different storms and see what is the most representative location, and then ideally you keep going back to that spot over and over. So that's one way of doing it. But definitely if you can take an average, usually it kind of, it centers out and hopefully it's representative.
Does everything happen up at the top of the mountain?
Yeah, good question. So I'm speaking to you from our administrative offices in North Conway Village. So this is kind of, it's all the
Oh, oh,
support
oh.
staff who help support the real hub, which is the Summit Weather Station, up on 6,288 feet of Mount Washington. Um, and so that's a weather station that goes back to, that is where we started. That is where we'll continue. And we've been there since 1932. But we measure weather in other places as well. So for instance, we're part of the National Weather Service's cooperative weather observing program. So I actually run the station here in town. That's a volunteer program that people can get involved in. But we also have remote weather stations throughout the White Mountains as well that act on an automated basis that can kind of survive some of the elements that otherwise wouldn't be able to happen on the mountain. So there's support staff who are here at the observatory in town, and then it's usually kind of our core science and operations staff on the mountain. And so we're a nonprofit. We operate like a business, like a lot of businesses, where even if you are strictly speaking, a science organization, there are a lot of people here that, you would not typically call scientists. And so, it's everyone from, finance and accounting, hugely important person who helps, with our budgets and billing and all of that, wonderful stuff. We have a director of technology who comes to us, uh, geez, I don't think he even has a college degree. He's one of these mad scientist people who just said, you know what, I like learning on my own. And he is one of the most fascinating people you ever meet. He helps run our remote weather stations, but he makes all of our all our IT systems function to our wireless internet, to the summit building, all these different things. But on the mountain too, we usually have engineers or people with engineering or lots of like hands-on either electronics or mechanical engineering background or any of those sorts of things, because a big part of the reason why we still have people on top of Mount Washington, it's not totally automated. When things break, and they do break on Mount Washington, it would take days in some cases to get someone
Wow,
up there to
right.
fix something. So you need people who are definitely multifaceted, who can fix and maintain instrumentation, even help design instruments that we've done in the past. There's some things that we just can't even buy off the shelf. So we have people who design and make instruments. Yeah, it really runs the gambit. Communications, fundraising staff, volunteer leaders, all educators, all sorts of people.
That's a great lead in as far as having everyone understand that the hands-on skills are so critical as well, because if you're 6,000 plus feet up and something breaks, it's not like you're going to get an Amazon delivery in the snowcat. So you've got to be those who are and have the experience with tinkering and fixing and coming up with things that have never existed. I think it's good to share with people that you want a well-rounded person. So you may have studied carpentry, but you still love the weather and everything that goes with that. And that could be a really um, attractive skill to have if you're going for a job. How frequently do jobs come up that, yeah, I should say paying positions? We've discussed internships and the citizen scientists. Um, is it rare, or do opportunities come up that people should kind of follow the website and see things that are there?
Yeah, I mean, certainly from the summit perspective, I mean, geez, it's such an amazing and intense opportunity to be a weather observer. The lifestyle can be challenging. Maybe it's not for everybody, but that's also what makes it so attractive to some people. Week on, week off lifestyle if you're a weather observer on the mountain. So it's like a lot of, all or nothing. I don't have a degree in meteorology or atmospheric science, actually. So it's one of these funny things. I still laugh about it pretty much every day that I'm in the position I'm in. But I always had a fascination with it. And so even though I didn't go to school for that, I graduated with an undergraduate degree in environmental conservation studies, so in the earth sciences.
Right.
But yeah, I got an internship just sort of on a whim. I thought, wow, wouldn't it be so cool to work at this weather station? I was so aware of like the forecasts and the data that the organization produced. I was really into hiking in the area in the White Mountains and was sort of already kind of working around here. And I thought, I gotta at least try and see. And I was already, I think it was almost a full year out of school already with a degree. So yeah, I mean, I got into a field that was not, strictly speaking, what I went to school for. The most common degree or sort of focus areas that most weather observers on the mountain or researchers or scientists are going to have at Mount Washington Observatory are going to be, some sort of atmospheric science, meteorology, oceanography, climatology. Those are the really big popular ones. So, we have certain weather observing positions who are like really focused on forecasting and having good forecasting skills. Um, but all of our observers do it and all of them learn it, myself included. So it's one of these things that, a novice can actually pick up, but you definitely want to have those people on staff too. If anyone's interested in working at Mount Washington Observatory, I always check our website, mountwashington.org, and check the About Us page. There's always something that's popping up, even if there's nothing available right now. And regardless the background, whether it's maybe eventually for a paid internship on the summit, or maybe it's in some sort of either administrative or support role from our Valley offices, we employ a lot of people from a number of different backgrounds, and also train a lot of people who are interested in making that career switch as well, who have always been fascinated in the sciences or weather in particular. So there's um, the main thing here is passion. You don't get into a nonprofit typically unless you really have a lot of passion for the work. And we're really fortunate to work with a lot of people who are all here because they want to be and they are just so fascinated by the natural world.